Most travelers arrive in the Baltics expecting a specific kind of experience, exploring medieval cobblestone streets, visiting restored castles, and enjoying the relaxed pace of a scenic old town. However, just outside the city of Kaunas, the Ninth Fort stands as a profound disruption to that lighthearted itinerary. This is a landscape defined by mass tragedy. The visual presence of the site is undeniable. A concrete memorial rising 32 meters into the sky imposes a heavy, angular shadow over the horizon, marking the gravity of the ground beneath it. The architecture reflects a staggering human cost. In the fields surrounding these walls, the lives of roughly 50,000 people came to a violent end. This forces a difficult question upon the traveler: whether to pause a comfortable holiday to willingly immerse themselves in the specific horrors of the 1940s. Choosing to visit the Ninth Fort means making a conscious exchange, trading the ease of a standard vacation for the heavy responsibility of bearing historical witness. Most travel decisions rely on simple logistics, like travel time, distance from the city center, and the price of a ticket. A visit here requires evaluating a different metric entirely: the emotional toll of the experience compared to the historical depth you hope to gain. This chart maps the trade-off. One axis tracks escapism and comfort, while the other measures historical impact. Standard stops like Trakai Castle offer high comfort, but the Ninth Fort is an extreme, high-impact site, offering no escapism. To gauge if your group is ready for this, we need to look closely at the physical and emotional realities of navigating the fort today. Preparing for this visit requires a shift in perspective. It is a deliberate choice to step into discomfort as an act of honoring the past. American education often frames the Holocaust through the lens of distant, industrialized death camps like Auschwitz. The history in Lithuania reveals a different reality. This site illustrates the Holocaust by bullets. Here, murder was intimate and direct, carried out at the edge of physical pits by people who could see the faces of those they killed. The violence began almost immediately after the German invasion in June 1941, when local nationalist militias collaborated to carry out public pogroms against the Jewish community in Kaunas. Those who survived the initial massacres were forced into the Kovno ghetto before being marched toward the fort. The prisoners called this route the Way to Heaven, a name that captured the bleak certainty of their fate. In 1943, the Nazis attempted to hide the evidence by forcing cremation squads to exhume and burn tens of thousands of bodies. On Christmas Eve of that year, 64 prisoners staged a desperate escape. The 11 who survived eventually told the world the truth of what happened in these fields. Facing this history directly removes the distance of a textbook, forcing you to carry the visceral reality of localized human cruelty, as well as the resilience of those who resisted it. The structure itself reinforces this weight. It was built in 1902 as a Tsarist military fortress, designed for artillery and ammunition storage, making it physically ill-suited for housing people. Modern visitors feel this immediately. The vaulted brick corridors are unheated and damp, creating a persistent chill that mirrors the isolation of the site. The Soviet NKVD and the Nazis repurposed these munition storage rooms into transit and political prisons, turning a military defense site into a place of detention. Standing inside these dark holding spaces often triggers a sense of claustrophobia. The raw, cold walls and total lack of light offer a physical echo of the severe sensory deprivation experienced by the inmates. Visitors need to prepare for these conditions. Sturdy shoes are required for the uneven floors, and even in summer, a warm layer is necessary to handle the cold within the tunnels. Enduring the physical chill and the tightness of the space serves as a mechanism to connect with the historical terror experienced by the prisoners held here. Navigating the Ninth Fort requires decoding how different regimes have manipulated the site's memory over time. The massive 1984 monument stands as a primary example. It was designed during the Soviet era to highlight collective resistance against fascism, while intentionally erasing the specific Jewish identity of the victims. Following independence, Lithuania updated the site's plaques and exhibitions to accurately center the more than 30,000 Jewish victims of the Holocaust. Newer exhibits add necessary nuance, acknowledging the role of local Lithuanian collaborators, while also documenting the bravery of those who rescued their neighbors. These layers of information demand active reading and intellectual engagement. It is a museum that requires you to process complex, competing narratives. Working through these layers reveals how history is suppressed by some and eventually recovered by others, making the visit a vital study in historical memory. Now that we've looked at the history and the space, let's apply these factors to the practical reality of your travel plans. This routing system helps match different traveler profiles with the appropriate level of engagement at the Ninth Fort. For the history-focused traveler who has the emotional bandwidth to seek deep truths, this is a mandatory stop. The depth of the exhibitions justifies the time. Families with young children should likely stay in the exterior areas. The monument provides a powerful experience without exposing children to the detailed interior accounts. If your schedule is tight, remember that a full tour takes 2 hours, and the experience is heavy. You must budget for decompression time afterward to mentally process what you've seen. Choosing to skip the fort is a valid decision if you aren't logistically or psychologically prepared for its weight. Setting that boundary is often better than rushing through a site like this. For those who decide to visit, the experience requires a specific kind of conduct. This space demands quiet observation. It is best to put away the camera and slow your pace to match the history within the walls. Look closely at the mundane courtyard spaces. These simple walls were the sites where multiple regimes exercised absolute, lethal power over thousands of detainees. Walk into the grass fields and acknowledge the silence. Those mounds are mass graves, marking the scale of the loss contained in this ground. This is the ultimate trade-off. You give up an afternoon of ease to take on the solemn, heavy duty of remembering the fallen. Standing on this ground and carrying these memories home is an active way to fight historical erasure. Thank you for listening.